I want him to leave our country. He's an odious man, horrible, orange buffoon.
Those people were so great right there. And Scotland was incredible as Donald Trump went there to grift, costing the American taxpayers millions of dollars, the Scotland taxpayers millions of dollars to promote his freaking golf course. The people of Scotland, from Aberdeen to Edinburgh and all different cities and towns throughout Scotland, let Donald Trump know exactly what they thought of that vile sexual predator, that vile felon, that bankrupter, that fraud, that destroyer. I saw one group of people say, we could smell that stench of Trump the moment he landed. Take a look at some of the signs we saw at some of the major protests across Scotland. Not even your wife likes you, Donald. Photos of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. BFF forever. Best friends forever. You were shite in Home Alone too. Scotland hates you, Donald. Scotland hates Donald Trump. A photo of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Very bad people. You are not welcome here. Photos and signs like this. Release the Epstein files, baby carrot, Donald. And meanwhile, Donald Trump spent the day golfing, thinking that he could just run away from his deep, dark past connections that are being uncovered, as we've learned that Donald Trump's name appears all over the Epstein files, and that's why he's saying it's a big hoax, as Donald Trump's Department of Justice gave Ghislaine Maxwell, the sex trafficker co-conspirator of Epstein, who's serving 20 years in a Tallahassee prison for sex trafficking. Donald Trump gave her Queen for the Day status, immunity for her speaking with the Department of Justice, where undoubtedly she's going to give what names of other people and try to clear Donald in exchange for a pardon. And she's probably not even going to speak to Congress. But Donald Trump's there. He's golfing in Scotland. He's promoting his businesses. He's self-dealing, enriching himself off, again, the Scotland taxpayer dime and ours in America. And then the despicable and weirdo MAGA influencers like this guy, Eric Dougherty, just revealed President Trump's golf swing is being shown off in Scotland. And people are amazed at his form for somebody nearly 80 years old. Democrats have spent months trying to say he's not fit for office. This is my thing with these MAGA people, as I've said before. It should never be a Democrat or Republican or red or blue thing, although it's become that. It should be like a good versus evil, an intelligent versus stupid, a MAGA cult versus like a democracy. What are we even talking about there? How could someone even write a post like that and be serious? The person was serious. But okay, we want to take a look at Donald Trump's golf game, that golf swing. Well, we've got footage of it here. Take a look at this here. Play this clip. As I always say too, Donald Trump's behavior would not be acceptable at any organization, anywhere, other than the leader of the Republican Party right now, and this vile MAGA, whatever you want to call it, the GOP, the guardians of the pedos. I think that's what the GOP should stand for, right? And by the way, Donald Trump sure sent his DOJ to cover up with Ghislaine Maxwell quicker than he sent FEMA to Texas to deal with those flash floods. But look at what Donald Trump's posting from Scotland. Again, like a little petulant toddler. He's just there, keyboard warrior, while there are major issues going on in the world, right? I mean, as you have the Druze minority in Syria undergoing like a mass attack on them by jihadists in Syria, like the Al Qaeda sect, as Donald Trump was saying, I have great faith in their strong, handsome, good-looking leader. We got war between Thailand and Cambodia taking place. We've got Russia killing innocent Ukrainians using those Iranian Shahed drones. But this is what Donald Trump is doing. He goes, I'm looking at the large amount of money owed by the Democrats after the presidential election and the fact that they admit to paying probably illegally $11 million to singer Beyonce for an endorsement. She never sang not one note and left the stage to a booing and angry audience. $3 million for expenses to Oprah, $600,000 to a very low-rated TV anchor, Al Sharpton, a total lightweight, and others to be named for doing absolutely nothing. These ridiculous fees were incorrectly stated in the books and records, and he puts this in caps. You're not allowed to pay for an endorsement. It's totally illegal to do so. Can you imagine what would happen if politicians started paying people to endorse them? All hell would break out. Kamala and all of those that received endorsement money broke the law. They should be prosecuted. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We're calling for Beyonce, Oprah, Al Sharpton to be prosecuted. What do they have in common as well? By the way, also based on lies. You think you're going to distract us from the Epstein files when we know your name is all over them and we know about your despicable past with Epstein that we cover diligently, meticulously every day, every 90 minutes here on the MeidasTouch Network? No, we're not going to be distracted. Oh, and then Donald Trump calls for networks that he doesn't like to have their licenses revoked. And by the way, Brendan Carr, Donald Trump's FCC commissioner, is going after those networks. He basically bragged that he was the reason that Colbert got fired. And he said he was going to go after The View and all of these shows that Donald Trump doesn't like. Donald Trump goes, wow, Comcast, he calls Comcast. Wow, Comcast NBC is down in viewership almost 28% this year. This programming is terrible. Their management even worse. They are an arm of the Democrat Party and should be held accountable for that. Likewise, fake news, ABC, MAGA. Networks aren't allowed to be political pawns for Democrats. It has become so outrageous, in my opinion. Their license could and should be revoked. Wow. You know what Donald Trump should be talking about? How an Oklahoma man is among the Druze family killed execution style in Syria. Remember when Donald Trump met with the leader of Syria, the new guy who used to be part of Al-Qaeda? And, he's trying to moderate himself, but Donald Trump thought he was handsome. And Donald Trump's like, yeah, this Shara guy, he's a tough guy. He's very handsome. I think he's the right guy to stabilize Syria. Well, we've seen the mass massacre of the Druze taking place there. By the way, the mass massacre of people in Gaza right now, starving to death, while Donald Trump eggs on Netanyahu and is like, do what you want to do, Netanyahu, as you see women and children and innocent people starving to death who can't get food. But Donald Trump's out there golfing in Scotland, covering up the Epstein files. How utterly despicable. I'll show you what, he could be doing. French President Emmanuel Macron posted the following. I held discussions with the interim Syria President al-Shara today. The recent violence in Syria underscores the extreme fragility of the transition. Civilian populations must be protected. It is imperative to prevent further episodes of violence and to ensure that those responsible for these acts are prosecuted. Prosecutions are expected based on the report submitted by the Independent Commission regarding the violence on the coast. The ceasefire in Sueda, that's the region where the Druze are from, is a positive signal. A calm dialogue must now enable progress toward the goal of unifying Syria while respecting the rights of all of its citizens. I spoke with the Syrian president about the urgency of finding a political solution with local actors within a national framework of governance and security. Likewise, it is essential that negotiations between the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Syrian authorities proceed in good faith. The tripartite discussion yesterday helped define the next steps. I reiterated our commitment to Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We discussed in this regard exchanges with Israel. We both expressed our support for cooperation in stabilizing the Syrian-Lebanese border. France is ready to support these efforts. Finally, I noted President al-Shara's commitment to fight against terrorism and emphasized the need for shared cooperation. That's how a statement is supposed to look from a leader. Okay? Not Oprah and Beyonce and Al Sharpton and I'm going to prosecute Kamala and Obama 2016 was mean to me. I mean, it is, and it should just be embarrassing. If you have dignity, Donald Trump's behavior should just be freaking embarrassing. And then Donald Trump, right? He's got his influencers online who are like, "Oh, great swing, Donald. You're a great golfer." And then he's got people like Mark Levin on Fox. "I'm Mark Levin." That's how he talks. And so Mark Levin goes on TV and like he coordinates this with Trump. And Mark Levin's like, "And let me be clear, we need to prosecute Obama. Obama would not get immunity. His conduct fell outside of immunity." First off, what the hell are you even talking about prosecuting him for? You just say words, Russia, Russia, Russia. What the hell are you even talking about? You just want to distract from the Epstein files. GOP, guardians of pedos. That's what they've become. You're hiding the Epstein files and must be horrific what the hell's in there about Donald Trump. And you think that we're just stupid. "Oh, Obama, blah, 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 blah." Here, just watch Mark Levin. Here, play this clip.
From prosecution for all his official acts, there is no immunity for unofficial acts. Wow. So that takes you to this issue of presumptive immunity. Because what Barack Obama what he did wasn't within his official acts. What he did was he moved from his official acts. And he asked the CIA and the others to do something that was corrupt, not part of his official act. Part of his official acts would be as if Obama ordered taking out a terrorist in Yemen, which he did. And it turns out that he takes out the terrorist, but also kills his 15-year-old son, who's a U.S. citizen. Obama can't be prosecuted for that. That's part of his official acts. That's fine. But when a president of the United States says, "I need a new assessment," effectively telling the agencies and the rest, "I need to get Trump," that's not within your official action. So what would happen in court if they brought some charges? You would have this presumptive immunity allegation, and then you would have to overcome the presumption.
Right? Like that's what they're doing. It's so utterly, utterly pathetic and so obvious. Oh, and I'll just show you. This is the Congress member Shafitz, who's now a host on Fox, MAGA Republican. He's like, "And so the Democrats are using the Epstein files to distract from Obama." Oh, that's it. Okay. Oh, that's it. That's what happened. Or maybe, just maybe, y'all were talking about the Epstein files every freaking day and using a sex trafficking ring, which should be taken damn serious, to weaponize against your political enemies. Except for the fact that your political enemies are not really the ones on there. It's Donald Trump, who is Epstein's best friend. And now you don't know what to do. And now Donald Trump's giving immunity to Ghislaine Maxwell. He's probably going to give her a pardon. He's covering up all this stuff. You all look ridiculous. So then you go, "You know what? Let's just go after the black president. Let's say Obama. Maybe what, you're going to bring back up the birth certificate? We're going to go there? What else are you going to go and bring up? I don't know." Here, play this clip.
And that, but Democrats have also joined in on actually voting in favor of doing things like issuing subpoenas and whatnot. That creates a whole nother problem for Republican leadership, because if they do a discharge petition or something else, you're going to have all the Democrats on board, and that creates a whole nother set of worms for Speaker Johnson. I can tell you, I'm just telling you this is, but I also do think I totally buy what Guy is saying. I would also argue that part of what they're trying to do is they are trying to distract from this big issue of President Obama's personal involvement in what was going on in targeting Donald Trump.
All right.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching. New Midas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.